Go for it.
Okay, welcome from the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group for October 2022. This is our 57th consecutive class. We are sponsored by Watermark Learning, as you can see right down here. Our mission here at the chapter is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the BA community worldwide. You have a variety of ways that you can reach us. Right now, this is our BABOK study group. It is Tuesday night between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can view our past meeting recordings here at this address. We also have an IIBA website. We have 2 meetup sites. We have Zoom Online, Facebook, and 2 LinkedIn groups. If you want to ask us a question, you've got a wide variety of ways to be able to reach us. As I said, this is our 57th consecutive class. We started out our meetings going through the BABOK, going through test questions, sample test questions, and we get a lot of value out of these because of the conversations that we have as we are working through answering each question. So if you need to reference this, you can view the same chapters in our previous iteration. We went through meeting number 10, we were going through chapter 4. By meeting 17, we went through solution evaluation. After that, we went through all of the techniques, and I mean every single one of them. Then we went into a professional series, which we had developers, architects, knowledge management, project managers come in to talk about what they do in the project, and so that we understand their roles and responsibilities, how we need to relate to them, when we need to draw them into conversations, and what information they need to provide to us. Tonight, we are working through the chapter of the test questions again. We are on chapter 4, Elicitation and Collaboration. Tonight is the first night we're going through this. As you know, elicitation and collaboration is a very central theme to being a business analyst. If we do not elicit information properly, the entire project can break down. It is critical that we provide that information in a good way. We will continue to go through all of the chapters in the BABOK as we move forward. As I said, we are sponsored by Watermark Learning. Watermark has given us a discount code, TAMPA21. This will give you 20% off of products that you purchase through Watermark. They have items such as virtual classes, boot camps. They have, and for a variety of different certifications, not just the CBAP. They also have flashcards. They have sample test questions like we're going to be going through tonight. If you want to have access to it on your own, you can use this discount code. I will say Watermark is not the only company that does this, but is the one that has provided us this information. They're the one I've used for a long time, and so that's the one that we went with. Our board is a volunteer board made up of these individuals. Cliff is our president. You'll see him here in the middle in his Millennium Falcon. And every once in a while, I swear I see those crafts behind him moving like, oh yeah, they're about to get him. Anyway, Lori, Caitlin, and Priscilla are also on our board. And I am the Vice President of Career and Professional Development. My name is Thea Raisins. If you need to contact me, ask any questions, just want information, need mentoring, whatever, you can reach me through LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn address right here. I'm happy to help, and just let me know what you need. We need more board members. Now, more board members in this case mean we need people that can say, I've got 2 hours I can donate. I've got 4 hours. I'd like to take on the role of Vice President of Finance. Whatever you want to do, that you want to be a board member. What this does is it allows us to run our chapter more effectively, spread the responsibility out a little bit, and just by helping run the chapter, you're helping every single person that participates in the study groups, in the lunch and learns, in the mentorship opportunities. If you want to be a mentor, or if you need a mentor, you need to contact us. You can contact Cliff if you want to be on the board. Also, one side note, if you need your attendance for any of these classes that you've attended, contact me directly and I'll be glad to help you. Our study group advisor, we've got 2 CBAPs here in the meeting today. Our longtime study group advisor has been Bob Churchill. You see him right here. Bob has his CBAP certification, and he has quite a number of other certifications that he has earned. This is his website. His website is full of really great information for the business analyst. It's not only about business analysis, it's also project management, mechanical engineering, creating simulations, all kinds of really good stuff. And he continues to improve it. So I encourage you to visit periodically. If you have any questions or suggestions for Bob, this is his email address and he welcomes you. The travels of Bob the Traveler. This is Bob right here. As I said, Bob is on a road trip. He left from Orlando and he's gone all through the United States. He's currently in Palm Springs, California, visiting family. In the next 10 days, he's going to be circumventing back to his home, and maybe he'll stop at a city near you. But he has a wide variety of things he wants to get on his bucket list. As I said, we've got two different CBAPs here in the meeting today. One of our early wins is she earned her ECBA, which is a junior version of the CBAP. It's Tish Bell, and she immediately put it on her LinkedIn profile with her banner. I love that because it just shows her confidence and her ability and her availability to move up in her career. Yulia is right here. She is our other CBAP in residence, and she earned her CBAP less than, well, a little over a month ago, almost 2 months ago. And she is attending the classes, continuing to attend the classes, because to maintain your certification, you need to continue to have a certain number of education credits, and this provides education credit. So let's start this meeting. I told you that we are going to talk about the chapter 4, but first I want to tell you all about a book I've been reading. I think it has a great deal of value. It's called Joy Inc. I actually read it by listening to it on Audible, but it is a fantastic book about one of the earliest agile organizations, how they started using people's strengths, how they resolved communication issues. There's a lot of humor in this book, but it's really very effective whenever you're talking about finding a place that you love and doing things that you love instead of, I hate going to work and I hate Mondays. So I really recommend this book. If you do not have a hard copy of the BABOK, this website is available to you. It's been out here for a long time, since 2018. This is the PDF of the BABOK. So we're talking elicitation and collaboration. The definitions in here will be quizzed in the questions that we're about to go through. So I hope that everyone had a chance to read this chapter, and let's get started on the questions. Now, I told you we're sponsored by Watermark Learning. They've contributed access to the test questions for us. I've selected CBAP, but you can see they have a variety of other certifications that are available to them. Let me log in here. And we're going to begin a new exam in elicitation and collaboration. You can see I can choose by chapter here, beginning with chapter 3. So we're going to chapter 4. We're going to begin a new exam. One of the benefits, as I mentioned earlier, is the conversation that we have whenever we're answering these questions. I'm going to read the question, I'm going to read the answers, and then we're going to have a conversation as to what the right answers are, what the wrong answers are, and why. That conversation right there is where we get our knowledge from each other. We get other people's understanding, their insights. They saw a word that you didn't pay attention to. And listening to that conversation and participating in that conversation is where you're going to learn. So, question 1, which of the following options is an input to managing stakeholder collaboration? Scheduled resources, solution approach, stakeholder register, or stakeholder engagement approach? First of all, are there any of these that are not real, that are not listed in the BABOK?
A is not real.
Which one?
A.
This one is not real. Okay, so we know that we're down to 3 possible answers.
I think it's D.
Yes, me too.
Why do you think it's D?
That's an input.
Very good. Those of you who aren't familiar with the BABOK, let me scroll down here to the inputs. In every single, what are these called? every single one of these, 4.1, 4.2, this one is prepare for elicitation. It will show you, these are the inputs. These are the guidelines and tools. This is the activity or the task. Here's the output, and these are tasks using this output. I don't understand exactly why, but this is critical for you to memorize this layout. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? What are the guidelines and tools? Because the test will ask those questions. Yes, Bob.
I have forgotten this, but I did remember thinking about it over the last few weeks that those inputs and outputs are really important. I was very familiar with them back when I took the exam. I don't remember them that well in the day-to-day practice or now, but I know I had them all in my head when I took the test, and I think Yulia could say the same thing. Very important.
Do you agree with that, Yulia?
Yes, you need to know your inputs, outputs, element, guidelines, and tools.
Okay, so knowledge, here is the voice of reason here. They have experience. So we know it's not A. Is it B, C, or D? We have 2 votes for D. Let's check answers. Checking the answer and finding out that we're wrong still gives us information. So it's not a tragedy. It's just knowledge. Stakeholder engagement approach is the input to managing stakeholder collaboration. Describes the types of expected engagement with the stakeholders and how they might need to be managed. So stakeholder engagement approach is a thing that you have to do. Usually it's a, what's it called? They call it an artifact. It's a thing you actually create. I use an Excel table to do it. Okay.
So the stakeholder register is just a register, you're saying?
The stakeholder engagement approach, the stakeholder register comes before that. So the stakeholder register identifies who are stakeholders, what their roles are they going, how will they be impacted? And then you go to the engagement approach. You identify this person, how do I engage with them? How frequently, what topics would they be interested in or included in? So it's like the second phase of it.
So does that like come with like stakeholder analysis, meaning that graph where you analyze their level of interest as well as high level of interest as well as the amount of power that they have. So the amount of power and interest would then come up, then would indicate the stakeholder engagement, stakeholder analysis. So is that part of that?
That would be a small part of it. It helps inform you as to how important that person's approval is. And what steps that you may need to take to help get them on board onto the project, to convince them that this is a good thing.
Oh, to convince them that this to convince them that this is okay, got it.
Okay, so you're talking about 3 different pieces that come before the stakeholder engagement approach, but you're understanding it. I'm going to move on. Okay, during a workshop, participants are constructing a container for the product as if it were being sold in a retail store. They're asked to identify what feature users of the product would find beneficial. So they're constructing a container for the product. In the above scenario, what is the purpose of this game? They're used to identify hidden assumptions or perspectives. They're used to identify features of the product being described. They're used as an input for the marketing plan by product management, or they're used to help identify related or similar features or themes.
It's actually a question about technique.
Right, so this is a technique that is being used. What is the purpose of this technique? So let's identify what is the technique. What are they doing here, guys?
Brainstorming, constructing a container. No,
Workshop.
Building a
a
prototype.
collaborative game, maybe?
All of those are true, but that's not the technique.
Okay.
They're constructing a container. So imagine you're sitting with 8 other people and it's cereal or it's a toy car and you're creating the container.
Is it like a JAD session? Joint application development?
Kind of.
I can be wrong, but it's a part of collaboration technique.
It is.
Collaboration games. Somebody said it.
Is this not prototype?
Okay, yeah. Thea, yes, a prototype, constructing a container for a product.
Could be.
So
Could be.
I can bet is collaboration game and prototype is separate technique. Collaborative games. Yeah, I am right. It's a part of collaborating games, and then they give 3 examples of those games, and this is a question about it.
Yulia, so that you mean I was right?
Yeah.
what is the purpose of this game? Is it to identify features?
It's to stimulate kind of a work, a teamwork effort, trying to get everybody involved.
Okay, but answers here. What is it?
Oh, use to identify features. I would say C.
Think twice.
What do you think?
I said think twice.
Think
Okay.
twice. She doesn't think it's C.
What is the purpose of the game? Use to identify- Help to identify related or similar features of this input.
Maybe A?
Identify the features users of the product would find beneficial.
B.
Or B?
Okay, I've got 2 B's. In the interest of time, let's check the answer. All right. So in the techniques chapter 10 and table 10.10.1, build a joint understanding of a problem or solution. Let's-
Okay, Thea, sorry, we got scrambled eggs again, right? Because we were,
Oh, this is how it's supposed. This is how it's pulling from exam. It's okay.
see.
So it's
no,
gonna
I
mix up.
understand, Yulia. I understand, but I read chapter 4 because we were told to read chapter 4 in prep for today. And
Yeah.
that's just digging deeper, going into
Yeah.
the technique into chapter 10. So that's when I said scrambled eggs, because it said chapter 10, but it was mentioned in chapter 4, the collaborative games.
Exactly.
Okay.
From
Yeah,
now
like you
on,
see
from
in
chapter 4 on,
4.56.
I'm sorry.
If you look at 4.56 under techniques, it says collaborative games.
Mhm.
So I was reading it because I'm sorry, I didn't finish reading the whole chapter. I still could not get the answer from what it had in chapter 4 under techniques and collaborative games.
Mhm.
So I guess we would get to that in chapter 10.
Yes, we
yeah.
will. And whenever we go through techniques, we're going to go through it more deeply. But
Yeah.
from chapter 4 on, it's going to be referencing the techniques that you're going to use for that task. So as Yulia said, the inputs, outputs, what's the other thing?
Guidelines and tools.
Guidelines
You
and
need
tools.
to know. Yeah, like by heart. You need to know them by heart.
Yeah.
Yulia and
But-
Bob said it, team, in earlier meetings, that the diagrams that we
Mhm.
really have to, because that's what it is they're referring to.
Exactly.
So don't bypass them in the BABOK.
Right.
It really help you during an exam. And techniques, you just look at them over and over. It's impossible to memorize. Just look at it, understand why it's used, and read it
It'll
through.
come.
Right.
Yeah, just keep looking at them.
Gotcha. Okay, number 3. During a workshop, participants are constructing a container for the product as if it's being sold in a retail store, what we said a while ago. What's the name of the collaborative technique being used?
This one you can infer from description.
Mhm.
You don't need to read the chapter.
Affinity.
Demeanor of the product.
Product box.
Product box. B.
Let's try it. All right, used to identify features of a product that help drive interest in the marketplace. The people that would be involved in this conversation are not only going to be the people that are creating the features for the product, but it's also going to have your UX and UI people involved in that
Who
conversation.
has dogs?
What is going on with that dog?
Yeah.
You have dogs in the background, please mute yourself.
Please mute. Yeah, thank you.
All right, when preparing for requirements elicitation, what are the inputs required to develop an elicitation activity plan? So inputs, again, for the elicitation activity plan task, business analysis approach, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach, domain SME list, needs, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach, and needs. Are there any of those we can block off? Any of those that are not in the BABOK? Sorry, say it again.
We can block off B.
Okay. Because domain SME list?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the correct answer?
I think it's C.
There's C or D, and
Is stakeholder engagement approach the same as business analysis approach?
no.
Is there such thing as stakeholder engagement approach?
Yes.
Is there such thing as business analysis approach?
Yes.
Okay. So I've got C or D. I need another vote.
D.
Okay, let's check it.
My guess A. Oh,
Oh,
C.
Sorry.
Okay. C, correct. So the inputs, needs, and stakeholder engagement approach are the correct ones for elicitation activity plan. So those diagrams don't make a lot of sense unless you understand what the elements in those diagrams mean. For instance, a stakeholder engagement approach, those are 3 words. But until you read the paragraphs and understand what it really means, then you understand why it's an input, why you need to do this first before you do the next thing. What does a business analyst deliver when communicating business analysis information? Do they deliver business analysis information communicated, unstated and stated requirements, business analysis information planned, functional and non-functional stated requirements?
A.
A.
Analysis information.
Why do we like A?
Business analysis information.
That's the output.
Okay.
It is the output, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Stated output. Good job. Sorry, guys, I mashed the wrong button. Okay, next one. Paul is eliciting data requirements and discussing system communications and how the 2 systems currently exchange data and services with his stakeholder. What principle is Paul discussing? Is this data migration, trans-system exchange, interoperability, or portability?
Interoperability.
C.
Cliff, do these words need to be updated in the new BABOK?
We just say integrations, but C is what I'd go with.
Okay, let's try it. Interoperability is the ability of systems to communicate by exchanging data or services. Those of you who don't know, we're going to be rewriting the BABOK to make it easier to understand, update some of the terms and such, and integration will probably replace this. Yes, Cliff.
Bob, there
I'm
are
sorry.
a lot of words that describe that concept. I always go with the inter-process communication, but you know, you had to go with what the BABOK says, even if the BABOK is sometimes annoying.
Okay, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the test that you take for the CBAP, you have to answer it according to the way the BABOK says things. Sometimes the BABOK is not quite the way you would do it in real life. So just understand Take the test according to the BABOK. Use what you can to learn how to do things better in real life if they apply. We will make it better with the next version, version 4. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all read this long paragraph and we will tell you what, raise your hand whenever you finish so that I know when we're finished and we'll go through the answers.
So basically, the last 2 sentences is relevant to answer the question.
Yep. And this one right here, multiple cities in Indonesia. So these people are not co-located.
Yeah,
Virtual requirements.
I would say
workshop.
virtual requirements workshop.
Yeah.
Because it was the first thing that the geolocation was the first thing I thought.
No, there is no such thing in BABOK as virtual requirements.
I say survey.
Well, I mean, no, I'm thinking of requirements. I mean, of the workshop. Sorry, it's not.
You're thinking of something that is in the BABOK, which is a workshop, but virtual requirements workshop.
Yeah, that doesn't exist in and of itself. No, but I was thinking just workshop.
Yeah.
It's D.
Yeah, but
I think
survey
it's
allows you
C.
to do stuff with location, not in mind.
Yep.
And covering a lot of people.
Right. So D, survey. This is an appropriate approach to elicit information about customers, products, and high-level requirements from a group of people in a structured way in a relatively short period of time. Let me address this word right here, structured way. When you have a survey, it's really important that you have closed-ended questions and you have a specific number of answers. That allows you to have definitive answers that are statistically relatable. Okay, next one.
And how he can even define if he's new to that field, if he will, what close-ended questions he will ask in that survey.
He would
The
have to
washing
get
machine.
he would have to get advice from someone who knows more than him to be able
So
to
he,
answer the
he
question.
will do interview first.
Yes, he's got to do an interview with somebody who's smarter than him or more experienced to even start this process. Creating surveys is an art. You're a business analyst for your organization and you've identified the stakeholders in your organization. As part of this identification, you've identified the stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis information, and business analyst performance assessment. What other input is needed to prepare for the elicitation and collaboration tasks? So we're looking for the inputs for elicitation and collaboration task, and we've identified 3 of them. What is the 4th one?
B.
Needs.
Okay, sounds like we're unanimous on that. Yes. Needs defines the problems or opportunity being faced by the business. This information is used to determine the information to be elicited when developing business requirements early in the project lifecycle. Very good.
Can I add a comment? So we have inputs for each task, and then we have at the beginning of knowledge area inputs for that knowledge area. You also need to know it and distinguish.
Yes, I agree.
This is what question is asking, basically.
What is the output of the managed stakeholder collaboration task? Is it business analysis performance assessment, stakeholder engagement, stakeholder collaboration, stakeholder lists, maps, and personas?
Manage stakeholder.
D.
Stakeholder list, maps, and collaboration and tasks.
I'm saying
Okay,
B.
I'm getting
but
B
Oh.
and D as answers.
I'm thinking B,
Interesting.
but that's me.
Let's try B and see what we get. Okay, Stakeholder engagement is defined as willingness from the stakeholders to engage in business analysis activities and interact with the business analyst when necessary. Which of the following is a common risk a business analyst must continually monitor in relationship to the elicitation and collaboration knowledge area? Stakeholder may have conflicting opinions regarding the prioritization of requirements. Stakeholder may be diverted from the project to other work. Stakeholder may not understand the models used, or some requirements may be out of scope from the proposed solution.
I say A,
Why do you like A?
because a very important responsibility of a business analyst is to do negotiation between stakeholders when they're in conflicts.
Is it a risk? What is risk? Risk is an uncertainty.
Risk. Uh-huh.
I would say C.
Oh, do you? Okay. May not understand the models.
Remember, keep in mind what Thea said, it's not necessarily what is actual in terms of your work. You have to think like the BABOK.
What does the BABOK say?
All right. It's a
Oh, then B.
I'm pretty sure the BABOK does say B, that you may not be able to get a hold of the stakeholders. You may not be able to get them in a meeting. You may not be able to have a conversation with them. I'm not sure the BABOK says any of the others. What do y'all think?
I think it's B too.
Okay, let's check it and see what we get. Okay.
Interesting.
Specifically called out in the managed stakeholder collaboration task and could directly impact the objectives of the elicitation and collaboration knowledge area.
For everybody that's new, I'm sorry, this is Bonnie. Let me just tell you, I've been a part of the study group for 7 months, and it's probably taken quite a bit of time for me to change my frame of thinking towards the BABOK and not how I actually function as a business analyst in the real world. I just want to put that out there to you. The first session we did of this, I think I got every question wrong, Thea. So don't be shy to just, but just listen to what Thea is saying and what Yulia is saying and what Bob is saying. You have to think like the BABOK.
Yeah.
Not like your normal actual experience, because it might be slightly different.
It's true. Okay, so think like the BABOK. I have this analogy that I use over and over. There's a group in the United States that they are responsible for identifying counterfeit money. The way that they do that is they study a real $100 bill so deeply so that if they see one that's counterfeit, it feels wrong. They just know the real so much that everything else feels wrong. And that's what you have to do to the BABOK. You have to be able to answer these questions the way the BABOK says the answer should be to be able to get the question right according to the BABOK. Now, Bonnie, you were very involved in our first conversations in your first meeting, and you're right. You didn't get a lot of them right, but you learned because you were involved, because you participated, you contributed, you gave your ideas. That's why you learned. And I really think that people that come to these meetings and they just sit back and either listen or go do something else, they're not getting anything out of these meetings. So please be involved, even if you aren't sure, even if you're maybe don't get it right the last 5 times, keep being involved. Keep being involved in the conversation. Okay.
Another thing that's very important is your actual on-the-ground experience will help you picture what the BABOK is saying. If you can mirror the two together, it'll help you memorize what's in the BABOK better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it'll help you have new ideas possibly about how to do your job better. And they might not be something you want to use, but the new consideration is a good idea. Okay, question 11. When does the task of managed stakeholder collaboration begin? Once the stakeholder may have been identified and analyzed, once requirements have been elicited, whenever it would add value to business analysis activities, or once requirements have been confirmed.
A.
A.
Okay, am I hearing something other than A? I couldn't tell. Does everyone like A? Okay. Correct. The BA cannot begin collaborating with stakeholders until they've been identified and analyzed to understand their preferences for the effective collaboration. This is 4.5.2. Next, which of the following is the best definition of a business analyst? A trusted advisor to all stakeholders identified during the course of the business analysis lifecycle, a trusted advisor to business personnel, any person who holds that title or role within an organization, or any person who performs business analysis tasks described in the BABOK, no matter what their job title.
D.
D.
That's a gimme.
Unanimous. Yes, this is the definition of a business analyst. So even if you have had a different job that you did not have this title, if you can prove that you did these jobs, you can use this in your CBAP application and whatever else.
I've been called everything but a business analyst. Here I am.
I've been called a lot of things too. Which of the following is not a key element to consider when conducting elicitation activity? So this is something that is not in the BABOK. Understand how the output integrates into what is already known. Select the elicitation technique to use. Determine what forms of output the activity will generate, or consider how the information will be used.
C.
Why do you like C?
I don't recall seeing that in the BABOK.
But you recall the other three?
I recall D. I recall integration into what is already. Oh, wait a minute. Understand how output integrates into what is already known. Selecting as I would say
Come on,
yes.
guys, lean in here.
I'm leaving in. I'm sticking to C.
Okay. Bonnie has put herself out there with vulnerability and courage. Who
I
else?
just ran in front of the bus, folks.
Understand how
I need
When
a
can
opinion.
I was maybe I'm gonna go with B.
Why do you like B?
So the word consider always when it's phrased consider, it makes me think they're talking about guidelines and tools.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure that the guidelines or tools actually tell me which elicitation technique I should use.
Okay. Okay, I need a tiebreaker.
It's also speaking about when
D.
conducting elicitation activities. I go with Benjamin. I think it's B.
B is in boy or D is in dog?
B is a boy. So,
Okay.
but if I'm wrong, please don't kill me.
We all do our best. Okay, B is the answer. This is not a stated element within the task of conducting elicitation. It is more appropriate element in the task of preparing for elicitation.
I don't really get that.
So preparing for elicitation, you're figuring out what technique to use. You've got to, so the task of conducting elicitation would be after you select your task.
Yeah.
So, like, you
I
select
see.
your technique and then you conduct elicitation.
Okay.
Yeah, see, the word is when conducting elicitation. It's not, you've already selected.
Oh,
It's kind of like you figure out what tools and spare parts you have to put in your toolbox before you go out and do the job.
yeah.
And which takes me
would
back to
guess
what
the
Julia said.
question on the actual exam would be this cheesy.
It will be. You need to know your inputs, outputs, elements,
Yes.
guidelines, and tools. Trust me.
Yes. And yes.
So think about the mechanics of each of the things. What is your input? What is it you're doing? What does it give you?
Mm.
And then the technique, and what is the output? What is it giving you? So you can move it on to the next thing.
So this kind of question is gonna be, but like Bob said, it's not gonna be like very picky questions, like what's the difference between, I remember an example, something, English word prepare, and I don't remember, but the difference is just so tiny that you're like, are you kidding me? So those kind of questions are not gonna be, but the one we saw, yeah, you're gonna see them along.
Okay. 14, which of the following statements about elicitation and collaboration is not true? So again, not in the BABOK. Elicitation and collaboration are ongoing activities and focus upon all types of business analysis information. Elicitation and collaboration focus only on requirements elicitation. Elicitation and collaboration can be planned, unplanned, or both, or elicitation activities may trigger additional elicitation. Which one of those is not on the first page of the chapter?
B.
B.
Definitely B.
We are unanimous. At least we read that far, right? Very good. This talks about elicitation only, and this talks about elicitation and collaboration. And if you read the first page of the chapter, you know collaboration has its own elements. Cato is working with a stakeholder on proof of concept to validate the design of a new system. What type of elicitation is Cato's team utilizing? Is this collaborative, experiments, research, or prototyping?
Prototyping.
Prototyping. Yeah.
No.
Proof of concept to
Hold
validate
on, type of
design.
elicitation.
What
Type of
You're working with
elicitation.
stakeholders. So which kind of thing working with stakeholders is this? We're not talking about it.
Oh, experiments.
For me, it's B,
Type of elicitation.
because we have three kind of types: collaborative, experiments, and research.
Mm-hmm,
And prototyping is an example of experiment.
Very good.
Correct.
Yeah. See, I pulled myself back from in front of the bus just a little bit. Only my foot got ran over.
So are we thinking experiments?
Yes, I'm saying experiments.
Okay, let's check the answer. Very good. Experiments involve identifying information that could not be known without some sort of controlled test. Experiments involve observational studies, proof of concept, and prototypes. Very good, guys.
And just let me say again, this is why Yulia, she keeps saying it over and over again. And, you know, we have to listen, which is read. And what Thea is saying, read the question at least twice before you answer. I answered very quickly and I should have stopped and gone back and at least read it a second time.
But you got to see, what is the question actually asking? Sometimes they give you all kinds of other, you know, they were working on a bank integration and that new BA came in and it was Saturday and the sun was shining, and then get to the question.
Right.
Okay, let's get to some of the more stuff. Stacy is a business systems analyst assigned to a new management reporting initiative. Stacy has noted that a few of the current managers are reluctant to make any changes to the existing management reports and may not be cooperative while sharing their requirements about the management reports. What should Stacy do to manage those reluctant stakeholders? So this first sentence, although informative, has nothing to do with the question. Managers are reluctant to make changes to the existing reports, and they don't want to share ideas about making changes. So she needs to get them to talk about possibly making changes. As stakeholders are from senior management teams, Stacy should discuss the manager with the sponsor and seek his or her help to sort it out. Stacy, I'm going to think that Stacy should explore lessons learned document from previous projects to find solution from experiences of similar situations of any past project. Stacy should take actions to prepare the stakeholders for the change initiative and ensure their buy-in. And Stacy should discuss the matter with the project manager and seek his or her help to sort this out. Are there any of these we
C,
can eliminate?
maybe.
Yeah, I
Oh.
was thinking C myself.
C.
Why do we like C?
Stacy has to do a little bit of work to encourage the stakeholders to get their buy-in. So perhaps really explaining
They.
the change.
Not just give it to a project manager to sort out.
And then there's that.
Ideally, the participants will have some buy-in before they ever start working on the project.
Right. But if you get into the project and find that some people are reluctant, then you need to address it.
Then you need to go over their heads.
Well, we want to prepare the stakeholders for the change initiative and ensure their buy-in.
So I was right. Oh, wow.
You're right.
So one thing that comes up in these answers is you generally want to act on your own authority as often as possible. Going over people's heads or getting help is generally not the best answer. Certainly true in
You
leaders.
hurt your own authority whenever you're always going to other people to solve the problem. And so people will not look at you as a leader. They'll look at you as somebody who can't lead, and you're acknowledging that. I'm not saying you cannot ever go to other people. If you feel like you need to go to somebody else, do it, but try first yourself. In this particular situation, my tactic would be to be able to figure out what these people's needs and motives are for their own parts of the project, and then show them how this project will help them meet how will be beneficial to them. Speaking in their own language of their needs, motives, goals, whatever.
This question is my everyday.
Is it?
Yes, that's why I said.
Yeah,
C.
if you're senior management or whoever is sponsoring the project, really communicates with the people who will be affected by it, that will really prepare the environment for good buy-in if they're aware enough to do it up front and have good answer.
Right. Okay, next. What are the possible forms that a business analysis information package could include? Text, matrices, diagrams, and presentations, informal documentation, formal and informal documentation, or formal documentation.
Formal and informal. C, I think.
Why do you like that one?
Because it's more like it includes everything. Because it can be in agile approach, for example, you can use informal, and waterfall you use, predictive
I would
or
agree.
adaptive.
Okay.
Oh,
But
you know, the
No,
funny
you're
thing
right.
was I was thinking about that, but
You are right in our reality, but according to the BABOK, this is what it has listed as this information package could include.
you want to know what's in, folks, here's the other thing too. It's funny in my mind, the first thing I was thinking was A, then I was like, no, maybe not so much. To the point, don't second guess yourself.
Well, the more you read the BABOK, the more you're going to get the answers the way the BABOK says.
In my mind, I got it right, A, but I said C. It sounds good.
The other thing
and-
is, this is why the BABOK needs to be rewritten, because that is stupidly and pointlessly specific.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And you see, when it's answered, it said informal documentation, but in the form of text matrices.
I agree. I
There
agree.
are so many other forms of information that that list does not include.
But hold on, guys, I thought it's C2, and if you go to the BABOK, possible forms for packages may include formal documentation, informal documentation, presentations.
Right, but this one is missing presentations.
you could have data, interviews, drawings, articles, documents, I mean, rules, policies, absolutely anything.
So it says, yeah, formal documentation may include text, matrices, or diagrams. Here you go.
Yes,
And informal,
rolled up.
same
Yeah.
story.
Mhm. So here's 4.4.4.1.
It's
It's
a part
bolded.
of formal. See, yeah, it's a part of the.
So
formal.
possible forms of packages may include formal, informal, and presentations. The fact that it left out presentations is why it discounted that as a correct answer.
Mhm.
So you have to learn the whole list together.
But in an exam, you're not going to have such stupid question. But know it just in case.
No, it
You have to accept that you're going to miss some questions because the BABOK is goofy and the exam is goofy. Don't worry about it.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
yeah. We don't have any idea what the score is that you have to make to be able to pass the test. We are thinking it's around, what was it, 80 points? I mean, 80%, Yulia?
It's
No
not official.
more than 70.
More than 70. So as you're taking these tests, this will give you a percentage of correction or that you are correct. Assume that you're going to be plus or minus 10% for the stress of the test. So you can kind of tell, can you feasibly pass it? Which stakeholders participate in the conduct elicitation task? So this is the task. Which of the stakeholders that are listed in the BABOK? Only the sponsor, customers and users, domain subject matter experts, and implementation subject matter experts. Depending on the activity, any stakeholder with relevant knowledge and or experience, or stakeholders who were originally defined in the elicitation activity plan.
B.
C.
See,
I'm hearing B and C. Let's talk about it. Why do we think C over B?
because it can be really any stakeholder. But again, what the BABOK says.
What is the BABOK?
I read that the stakeholders, they are, the customers and users.
I mean, end users and
why.
elicitation, it's maybe too early.
But also remember what Yulia said, there are, this could be at the knowledge area level, or it can be a little bit deeper than that.
So think about the conduct elicitation task in the BABOK. Does it give a list of specific stakeholders or does it give this general idea depending on the activity?
A list.
Does it give this list?
I think I read this. It
It's a
gave
list.
but I
Yeah,
can't
they do have a
specifically
breakout of a
remember.
list, but. depending on
Yes,
the activity.
Then B.
No, they do give a listing, but then they also give, it could be any stakeholder, but again, it's about language. Stakeholders who were originally identified. Okay, forget D, forget A. Depending on the activity, you need to go with relevant knowledge or experience.
Whatever the answer is, it should be C.
I agree.
C.
I was
It is
thinking
C.
Let's try C and see if it lines up with reality. Yes.
Okay, this
This
is
is
the
the
catch-all.
catch-all participant. Others noted include the customer, domain and implementation subject matter experts, end users, and sponsor. So it does give a list, but it also gives this. And this
And it
covers
also says all participants, yeah,
Right.
all stakeholders.
Okay, we are coming close to the end, so let's try to finish a few more. A prototype that is used to explore the basic size, look, and feel of the product that will be manufactured without creating actual functionality is called which of the following? A functional prototype, a form study prototype, a usability prototype, or a proof of concept?
Proof of concept.
E.
Sounds like we're pretty sure of this one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I was pretty wrong. Okay, this is
used-
a model to.
Proof of concept usually built.
A workflow or navigation at a high level. Whenever it talks about
Ah.
creating actual functionality, it's probably talking about an application being developed, which means that you're just creating a wireframe, a picture on a screen. And that's when functionality would come in line. If you mash this button, it's not going to take you to the menu. That's what it's talking about, functionality. So form, study, prototype is the word that they're using. Again, let's put this on the list of things we're going to fix. And
Yes, why? Because I'm thinking, why not just put wireframe? I would have known that.
I know.
It's from
Form study
techniques.
prototype, no.
Form, study, prototype may be used to model a workflow or navigation at a high level.
Oh, I didn't read that in 10.3.6. I'm elsewhere, sorry.
Yeah, you wouldn't know, guys, so it's fine.
Yeah, this is why we're having these meetings, so we can learn, right? Okay, let's get one more in. What are the inputs to manage stakeholder collaboration tasks? So manage stakeholder collaboration, the task, stakeholder engagement approach and information management approach, stakeholder engagement approach and business analysis performance assessment, business analysis approach and business analysis performance assessment, or stakeholder engagement approach and business analysis approach. Which ones of these things are necessary before you can do managed stakeholder collaboration?
D. Stakeholder engagement and business analysis approach. You have to, as a business analyst, you have to know what your approach is. You have to have the stakeholders engaged, manage stakeholder collaboration.
I'm gonna go with A.
Stakeholder engagement.
Why do you like A?
Because I want to say, oh,
That's the difference in A, right?
yeah. I'm confusing that with
No, I still
business
think
analysis.
B.
I like
BA,
D.
information communicated.
Stakeholder engagement approach and business analysis performance.
No,
I think it's
D.
D, but
D.
D is my final answer. I'm
D
gonna
as a dog.
go with D.
D as a
B.
dog.
Okay,
B boy.
B boy.
y'all were right.
It's incorrect. Who said B? You changed your answer.
It's okay. These are the stated inputs to manage stakeholder collaboration task. Okay, we are at the end of our time for today. Guys, we've had a really good meeting. We've made some good progress, and I think we've understood some things that we didn't understand before, but I would like to go over this same chapter next week. Please, everybody go through and read it. Say
Chapter 4.
chapter 4.
Okay.
Say, let's read it 3 times between now and then. Highlight, underline, put numbers beside things, look at your inputs, outputs, everything associated with a task. Yulia gave us a spreadsheet that, Yulia, does it have the inputs and outputs on your spreadsheet?
Everything. Techniques, inputs, outputs, guidelines and tools, everything.
If you would like that spreadsheet, send me a thing on LinkedIn and I'll forward it to you. Yulia was kind enough to create it and then share it with us. If you find an improvement on it, let us know so we can all learn. But Yulia used it very successfully and she passed her test, and you can tell she did a lot of studying. Okay, guys.
And guys, those of you that are new, if you want to get into our channels, connect with Thea, myself. We've got lots of channels we can get you in, so you'll get meeting notices like this for the study group, and etc. That's my input. Go ahead, Thea.
If you need somebody to mentor you, if you need help finding a job, if you know of jobs available, please contact me directly. If you need something that says that you participated in these classes, contact me directly. If you're interested in joining our board, even if you think nobody would want me or I've never been on a board, that doesn't matter. If you're interested, if you're willing to lean in and participate, that's all we need. Contact Cliff. We will find something that you can use to grow yourself, that you can use to help contribute to the chapter. And it doesn't look bad on your resume that you were a board member. So,
And also, sorry.
go
Yeah, I
ahead.
thought you were- no, I thought you were done.
Oh, no, I'm just going to say, see you next week. But if you have something, go ahead.
I do. This is another diagram, folks. And you know what? I read the verbiage, but I gleaned over the actual diagram. This is this is the actual figure, the answer. As
On
inputs.
4.5.1.
Yes, this is actual input. So in case you guys had noticed, it keeps coming back to exactly what everyone is saying, what Thea is saying, what Bob is saying, what Yulia is saying. It comes back. It's on page 72.
Yeah, but also remember, you're not going to get it from first time. It's going to take some time to get used to it, find strengths to remember it, or even desire to remember it. So it will take time.
Yeah.
Yes, Yulia, and that's why I'm saying I'm 7 months in and I'm starting to switch my brain over to the BABOK way of kind of thinking,
Right.
you know, and listening to this wonderful study group. So it's all true, folks. For those who are new, it's all true in terms of everything that's being said here. So please take heed to all the advice that's being given.
It takes a lot of focus to do this. And I think one of the key is in 3.2, you understand that this is more than just a box. This is a whole set of practices, mechanics, what your goal is, what your purpose is, who you're going to work with. And out of that come the ability to go to the next step. But you've got to understand what this means and what this means independent of everything else, or it's not going to make any sense to you. It's just going to be a bunch of things that you memorize. And it's hard to memorize things you have nothing to relate to. So get into these and figure out what it is. And have you ever done anything like this? And what would it look like if you were to do this? Make it personal to yourself and you'll be able to remember it a lot better, more easily. And you might be able to use some of these in maybe volunteer organizations, you know, join a local volunteer a club or something and say, I want to help figure out how we're going to move forward move to the building that we're moving to and go through these steps and actually practice these and make this more than just a box in a diagram. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely want to express my appreciation in your participation.
Hello?
The conversations are wonderful. Did somebody want to say something?
Yeah, somebody says something.
Yes, what do you want to say?
Hi, this is Veda here.
Hello.
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 Go
Yeah, I'm from India. Actually, it's very useful. I've been participating since this is the second class I'm attending. It's quite useful, and I'm really involved in this. I have been started studying a lot. I'm preparing for ECBA, and I would really appreciate, like, I'm just looking for for the regular chapter study. This is like for preparing questions, but I really wanted for each chapter to be concentrated. I need a separate like sessions. Why it could not be done? Is it done, or is it going to be happen?
Yes, this session and next section are only about chapter 4. In previous ones, we've done the chapter 3, chapter 2, etc. And then we have recordings of these the chapters throughout the book that for the first time we went through there. So if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, I'll be glad to give you a list and then a link to our recorded section so that you can see those previous meetings.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, once again, guys, your participation, your attending. I know some of y'all are all around the world. Thank you for staying up with us. Thank you for getting up early to meet with us. You had a choice of where you could spend this hour and you chose to spend it with us. Thank you. That's very humbling. We want to provide value to you. If you need, again, someone to mentor you, someone to answer questions, someone to give you encouragement, reach out to me. That's my job. I'll see y'all here next week. Tell
Thank
people
you.
about us.
Thank you so much.
You guys.
Bye.
Have a nice week.
Have a nice
Thank you. Bye.